Hey you guys, and welcome to Tableau and the Science of Fundraising. This is number 4. We'll be talking about comparing giving in partial fiscal years. I'm Dave. My personal mission is to make it so your social impact fundraising data is useful, and you can do this affordably and effectively. So our topic is comparing giving in partial fiscal years. This is a really easy topic to cover. No calculations are needed. We only need data. We need the gift ID, we need the constituent ID, the gift date, and the gift amount. And depending on what you're trying to do, even some of those may not be necessary. Any other dimensions that you want to pick to inform your audience, things like gift type, appeal, fund description, okay, you can include those in your data set as well. In export will be the easiest thing to do. Export all gifts in the gift range that is being analyzed. A regular data warehouse will make this job a lot easier, but an ad hoc export should work just fine as well. Now, to be fair, you could do this first part in Excel pretty easily as well. You just make your export, you add a column to isolate the month from the gift date field, format your data as a table, and then put the data in a pivot table and filter based off of the month field. Literally, it takes about 30 seconds once you have your data to do all that. But with Tableau, you can go a few more extra steps. So I'm going to show you the first thing getting started, which is, let's take our data, and I'm going to do a gift range from about the last 20 years or so, but ending in fiscal year 23. And I'm going to show you why in just a moment. I have everything I need to do some fun stuff with. Let's go ahead and get started. I've shown a visual like this in a previous video, so part of this is going to be recap, but let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first let's take the gift date and let's bring it to columns. And then let's take, do we want to analyze donors or gifts? Let's go ahead and analyze donors for this example. So I'm going to drag that to text, and then I'm going to change my measure to count distinct donor IDs. Okay, now I've got this long segment here. And this is okay too. Let's go ahead and drag this to rows, and then I'm going to drag gift date again to columns, but I'm going to switch my granularity to month. Now you can see what I've got happening here. I'm starting with 2004 to 2023. For each month, it is counting the number of donors. Okay, that's great. Let's do one thing as well, which is you have control in Tableau Public to change your fiscal year start date. And let's say mine starts in July. And now I've got what looks like a full slate of data. Okay, so this is neat. If my goal, though, is to look at partial years, maybe just the first half or the first 3 quarters of the fiscal year, that's pretty easy to do as well. I am just going to drag gift date to filter, and I am going to want to filter on the months, and I'm going to click OK. And my filter hasn't done anything yet. I'm going to show my filter. And I'm going to uncheck all, and let's just say I want to look at the first 3 quarters of my fiscal year. So that includes July through March, and there you have it. Hey, that looks pretty cool. From this analysis, in an older way of doing business, it would end here. And again, you could do this in Excel really easily. But given that this is Tableau, the entire purpose of the software is to add a visual element to what you're seeing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate the sheet, and I'm going to change my visual to a line chart, and I'm going to go ahead and click on all for right now for all of my months. And so this is showing me literally on a month by month by month basis, all the way from the beginning of my data, fiscal year 23 or fiscal year 04 to fiscal year 23. And that looks, well, kind of interesting. It's not quite what I wanted to see though. Again, I really want to do this instead by year. Okay, so I am going to change my setting here to month, and this is all Julys and all Augusts and all Septembers and so forth and so on. That's not really what I want. I'm going to take gift date and I'm going to drag it to color, and now all of a sudden you see, wow, this is what we call Technicolor spaghetti. This isn't really terribly helpful, especially if I just want to see how the most recent fiscal year is comparing to the rest of my fiscal years. What I could do is edit my colors, and I could select everything except the most recent fiscal year. I'm going to change the color to gray, and I'm going to change my most recent fiscal year to, let's say, green, something eye-catching. And okay, so now if I focus on just fiscal year 23, I highlight fiscal year 23, I've got a really good picture of what's taking place. Another thing that you could do is this, which is change my table calculation to a running total. So it's going to count 1 month of gifts, add the next month, add the next month, add the next month. And this is what I've got instead. Okay, so this is even more interesting because what it tells me is, you know, fiscal year 23 actually started a little kind of lackluster, and then we had a big jump, it looks like in February, and then that helped put it kind of in the middle of the pack for the last few months of the fiscal year. And again, just like in the other view that we did, I can change my analysis so I'm only looking at the first 3 months. This makes it pretty easy to spot what's happening. You do have the option of changing, putting little dots to help make a bit more clear segment dots, where 1 month is, the next month, and so on. That makes the visual just a little bit cleaner as far as what's happening. Okay, so another topic that then happens a lot is, this is great. You could do this in Excel, and the next year, maybe you want to provide the same analysis, and you would have to go get the data again from another export, and then you'd have to go through all of these steps again. Do you have to do it that way in Tableau? And the answer is no. What I can do, there are a lot of different ways in Tableau to update your data set. This is probably the simplest, which is I am going to connect to new data. I'm going to do a text file, and it is this one right here, all gift 24, which is FY24. And then I'm going to go back to my viz over here, and now I am going to replace my data source. It was all gift 23, now it's all gift 24. And my field names are the exact same, so they're going to pitch right into where they needed to be. And you'll notice my colors changed a little bit. I can fix these by going to edit my colors. I can change this to the light gray, and I can change the fiscal year 23 to the light gray. Fiscal year 24 is now the operative year, so I will make that green. And the one thing that I do have to do is change my fiscal year again. So now I have to go to fiscal year start, and I want to make this fiscal year starting in July. And okay, I've got a similar sort of dynamic happening. Fiscal year 24 started out kind of slow, and then we had this big, huge jump, which looks to have taken place in March. And if I fill in my year, again, after that big, huge jump, it kind of ended up in the middle of the pack. This is a quick way, a quick visual way of comparing what happens with your data that is a little hard to see in a situation like this. I look at this, and this is a lot of data to take in, to make heads or tails out of. But when I see it in something like this, it's like, wow, I can instantly grasp what's taking place. Again, a quick way to analyze your data that's a step above doing it in Excel quickly. Okay, that is it for today. Next time we will talk about geographic data and how we can run quick analysis with that.